I heard over and over again, like, you just need to be yourself. You just need to be authentic. And I didn't know that I wasn't. I didn't know that I was still filtering it all through this palatability matrix, this will I get it all right checklist. I have been so afraid of not capturing the nuance right that I just haven't talked. Hey, this is the best episode of the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast that has ever existed, because I have spent the last 2 weeks deconstructing the fact that I have obsessive compulsive disorder. And it has been like there's somebody just out of the corner of my eye, like somebody standing right behind me, using me like a puppet, making all my decisions, running all of my thoughts and communications through a matrix of rules that keep me safe, because they mean that I will never be wrong, I will never be misunderstood, I will never make mistakes. And if I can be perfect, I will stay safe. That is not me. That was not me. That was a fake little guy. It's like having a dungeon master in my brain that's been playing me like an NPC, but I'm a person, and I was always supposed to be a person, but at some point I gave the reins over to this entity that started making my decisions for me. And I have been writing about this. The words are coming out of me so fast. I haven't felt like I was writing in a true way like this since before my blog post went viral about the gaslighting of the Millennial Generation, and I think that was 2016. So I'm just going to tell you a story, and I'm going to start there. I'm going to start at the gaslighting of the Millennial Generation, because that is when I started to put together this persona that talks to you. And I did not know that it wasn't me. And I feel like I need to apologize. I feel like I've been lying to you, but I've been lying to me, and it's better now. Like I'm realizing all of the things that I was scared of were just fake. And they were, sorry, I'm trying to get my shit together. It's going to be a weepy one. I'm telling the truth in a way that I never have before. So if you're on YouTube, you get to see my crying face, and hopefully my podcast producer edits me together a little. We don't have to watch my whole crying drags. He probably had to. And speaking of my podcast producer, I would like to tell you right now that if this episode resonates with you and makes you feel something, I need you to go support me on Patreon. I need it. Because once we get that up to $500 a month, I can go back to 4 episodes. I had to pull back because I couldn't afford to pay my producers, my content team, to do my full 4 episodes a month anymore. And I had been trying so hard. I had still been paying them even when I couldn't afford it for probably 6 months, longer than I should have. And finally, Kitty sat me down and was like, "Are you paying us before you pay yourself?" And I had to say yes, because I haven't been important enough to me to take care of me first in a really long time. And I'm only putting this together now. And it was a cosmic experience. Somebody on Threads, I was posting about my anxiety, and I said that the morality of my anxiety is so exhausting because I'm always thinking about the implications, the ethical and the moral consequences of everything that I do. And I thought it was normal. I thought that's just what it was like to be alive under capitalism in 2025. I thought that we just all really had a hard time dealing with ethics and the moral implications of participating in late stage capitalism. I thought everybody was having that hard time, but it was all these fake rules. It was all this fake stuff that I kept adding to this matrix of good person points. And I thought that if I made sure to always capture every nuance in every post I made so that nobody could come at me and nobody could at me and be like, "You left out the experience of this community. You didn't capture this correctly. Your experience doesn't speak to my experience, and it should have." That's what I've been afraid of. And I think I've been afraid of that since my blog went viral in 2016, because suddenly I was visible. And being visible, before that, I was just a blogger. I was just a little guy, and I just talked about whatever was on my mind, and I wrote about it. And people liked my writing because the way I observed the world was beautiful. And that's what writing is. That's what art is. This is going to be such a hard episode for me to record, but I need to record it. I have been afraid to be wrong. I have been afraid to say something that other people didn't like. And this affected how I wrote my book. And it has affected how I have marketed my book and talked about my book since its publication. And it was all made up. And the grief of that is so heavy. The grief of knowing that it didn't have to be this way. And that all those rules that I've been living under are a mental illness. And I've had to unpack the stigma because I didn't think I was this crazy. And I know that we're not supposed to say crazy because it's ableist to say crazy and it's ableist to say stupid and dumb. And you can't say time blindness because it discounts people with real blindness. And you can't say that something's tone deaf or that it falls on deaf ears because you're erasing the experience of deaf people. And every single time I read a criticism like that, or a Tumblr post, or something that talks about the inherent harmfulness of everyday ableism, I have added more vocabulary words to the banned list. Things that I cannot say, things that I cannot talk about. Because if I say them that way, it might offend someone. I'm so sorry that I'm crying while I say this. I feel like it's probably so annoying to listen to. Like, if you're in your car right now and you need to switch to some other podcast that is not a crying person, I feel you. You have my blessing. The more I censor everything that I say, because I'm always running this program that stays up to date on the latest thing that you can't say. Like, that system is taking up so much of my brain that now that I have identified it and I have said, that's obsessive compulsive disorder, I have felt so alive. It felt like I had been underwater carrying a boulder. Like, you know, like there's these awesome Polynesian athletes who strength train on the bottom of the sea. They run along the ocean floor holding a boulder to keep them down. And I've just been living like that for a really long time. And now that I know it's not actually me, I let it go and I can breathe. I have never recorded a podcast that was just me talking to you. It has always been content that I created because I thought you would like it. And I've taken marketing courses and been in memberships, and I heard over and over again, like, you just need to be yourself, you just need to be authentic, and I didn't know that I wasn't. I didn't know that I was still filtering it all through this palatability matrix, this will I get it all right checklist. And my friend said to me today that there's a difference between adding nuance for context or to share a different perspective and adding nuance to the point that you're making an airtight argument. And that's the standard I've been holding myself to since my blog post went viral in 2016. I have been so afraid of not capturing the nuance right that I just haven't talked. And that's what capitalism wants. That's what the patriarchy wants. That's what the system wants. It wants you to be plugged into that thing that says you are not allowed to color outside the lines and you are not allowed to be different and you are not allowed to make art. It's got to be live, laugh, love. It's got to be mass produced at Target. That is palatable. That is good. That is what we want to see in the world. And so I stopped being an artist and I started trying to figure out what people wanted from my art. And that's not how it works. And I really feel like there's been someone behind me, piloting me. I compared it to like being an NPC, a non-player character, but not like in a video game, not like I'm just the person who says, hey, buy your dwarven crafts. Hey, oh, did you hear the news? Like, I'm not somebody with one line that I repeat. And when I first started thinking about being an NPC, that's kind of how I was contextualizing it. And then I realized that I was an NPC in the context that the dungeon master was rolling my dice and saying my lines, because my input did not matter. It was just there to move everybody else along, the real people who got to interact with the game. And so I have been away. I have not been here. I don't think you've met me. And I've got like 200 subscribers on YouTube, and hello, this is me, and I'm scared because I worry every day that it's just going to come back and that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be back in the world of all of the rules and I'm going to like be trapped underwater with that boulder again. But I don't think that's true. I think I was able to turn around and see the thing behind me and say, that's not me. That's never been me. I tell the truth. I share my thoughts. I write in a way that is beautiful, and that is why people read it. I don't write to give you a message that you want to hear. That can't be what it's about. And this podcast has been hard to make for the past year because I keep thinking, what do people want to hear about? And how will I give it to them in a way that's really clever and good? And I have been completely missing the fact that what makes my thoughts worth subscribing to is the fact that they're my thoughts and they are how I see the world, and that is the valuable thing. That is why people subscribe. That is why people join my newsletter. That is why people hire me to coach them. And that is why they haven't been hiring me to coach them for the past year, because I've been terrified and I haven't been real. I haven't been a real person, but I didn't know that I wasn't a real person. I didn't know I was being piloted like a puppet. And also, just to say, I was in there. I wasn't aware that I was a hostage, but I was still seeing through my eyes, and I was still talking to the people I love. I just didn't have the energy to be present because I wasn't present because I was under the water holding the boulder while this puppet master was piloting me and following all of the nice rules about how to be a good person. I was getting good person points. I think that's what we're talking about for the rest of the year. I'm pretty sure that the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast is about to become Caitlin's OCD Epiphany Experience Extravaganza, and we are going to be telling the truth, and I'm going to be talking about things that have happened to me, and you are going to love it because it relates to things that have happened to you. You don't love it because I am a brand and I made you something. I'm talking to record my lived experience, and people will follow or not based on resonating with that lived experience. I haven't understood that for almost 10 years. I have been terrified. I have gotten all of my self-worth from the number of subscribers. Number go up, I'm doing a good job. Number stay the same or number go down. Like, I always celebrate an unsubscribe because I know that means that I said something and it didn't match that person's energy, and that's good to me. Like, I know that, but I still wasn't being 100% myself. And now it feels even safer. And I know that sounds backwards. And I know that if you have rejection sensitive dysphoria, or you are scared of rejection and scared of being seen and scared of being perceived, when I say that I feel so much safer now that I have just kicked all those rules out of here, that's going to sound and feel backwards. Because how could I be safe if I'm just raw dogging reality right now? And it's because I realized that my worth comes from me and it doesn't come from you. And I love you, and I love that you're here, but you don't define me. And you are not the reason that I am good at what I do. I am good at what I do because I'm good at it. Not because a certain number of people have hired me, and not because of any type of number or metric or famous person retweeting me, or like, none of it comes from outside me. It comes from within me. And this is so much to unpack, you guys. It's so hard. It's so heavy because the whole time I have thought that all of those rules were for safety. They were to prevent my rejection. They were to prevent social consequences. But the consequence was that I disappeared. I was gone. I didn't know. And I want to share more of this for the rest of the year. So let's get that Patreon up to $500 a month, please, because I really want to go back to my full 4 podcasts a month so that we can be talking about this stuff. Because now that I see it and now that I know what's been happening, the more I'm sharing about it on Threads and on Instagram, the more people are saying, me too, me too, me too, me too. I thought it was only me. It's not. It's not only you, and it's not only me, but we only know that when we talk about it. We only know that when we leave the shame of it and just say, this is it. This is me. This is what I do, and this is how I live, and this is my art, and this is my writing. I have never felt so alive and so light. I've been singing. I've been dancing. I have been waking up before my alarm goes off, ready to just get up and do things. I had no idea what I was struggling with until somebody said you might want to look into OCD. And I thought that OCD was for germs. And I thought that OCD was for, I don't know, straight lines. This is straight lines. It's the straight lines of my behavior. I want you to know me. And that feels scary. But like we're only alive for such a small amount of time. And I want to show you that you are not alone. And so I'm going to do the hard thing, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to share my real, true lived experience, because I think it makes us less alone, and that feels so good. And I'm really happy, honestly, genuinely happy to share this with you. So yeah, I feel like that's it. That's going to be our episode to start January 2025. Happy New Year. I have OCD. Please subscribe to my Patreon because I need that. I need it. Hire me to coach you. So I'm getting in my head about it now. I'm like, don't say the wrong thing. Don't be greedy. But no, like this is how it works. Like you do your work in the world and the community supports you. If I am to step into the role of being a healer, which feels so self-aggrandizing and disgusting, and I am a bad person for saying that I am a healer. You need to fund your local healer. Healers traditionally are supported by the community so that they can focus on the work of healing and not having to hustle and work to survive. So please go sign up for the Patreon. It starts at $3 a month. And honestly, if every single subscriber to this YouTube just did the $3 a month, we would be up to 4 episodes immediately, like right now, as soon as that happens. As soon as that Patreon hits $500, we are going back to the full 4 episode capacity. So please do that because I want to talk to you and I want to be a real person with you. And I need your help. I need your help to do that. So I'm going to leave us here. I'm going to see you in the next episode. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I hope I don't cry as much. This has been me for maybe the first time ever. And I love you. And I will see you next time.
And tell you a joke to lighten your load and help you along or sing you a song. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.